is going on YouTube? My name is Adam. I am coach of the Maryland Blue Krabbys, and we are back for our week 6 matchup of the Greater Pokemon League. This week we are taking on Selt and the Greenlake Goodras. This week we are bringing Charizard X, Conkeldurr, Amoonguss, Malamar, Klefki, and Tornadus Therian. Amoonguss, in my opinion, is probably going to be the key to this victory. We got to keep it healthy. We got to make sure that we're able to spore things. It does create a good amount of pressure to his team. There's not much that can KO it outright, except he does have Alakazam on his roster. So other than that, we aren't really threatened by too much. We will have to play around it if we do see the Alakazam come. This is a post-com video. You know, life has not been too super crazy. This past week it was, just because I had a lot of personal stuff going on, and unfortunately that means that the video does not get out on Monday like I like it to, and I'm actually having to record this on Tuesday. Hopefully it will go up on Wednesday, but for those of you that live in the United States, I hope you had a great Memorial Day. I hope you were able to use it to honor the lives of our veterans who have served or gave their lives, or if you know people that have served. Hopefully you spent the day trying to kind of keep that in your mind as you were able to enjoy the 3-day weekend. I know I did, even though I did have to work. So without too much further ado, I will go ahead and pop the screen up. We are currently right now, we're either 4-1. I believe we're 4-1, yes, because we were able to take on Atlanta last week, and we were able to walk away with a W. So right off the bat, we do see he has Alakazam, Heliolisk, Silvally, Diancie, which is his Mega, Garbodor, and Hippowdon. There's not too much that really scares me. I was afraid of the Vaporeon that he also has on his roster, just because that thing is hard to break through. If he wanted to spam Toxic with that Vaporeon, it could have been a problem. I did have a little way of dealing with Toxic, but it was not reliable in any way, shape, or form. So my bet was that he was going to lead off with the Heliolisk, just because there's not too much on my team that appreciates a Volt Switch. So I wanted to make sure that I led with something that could get me information right off the bat. So I decided, we'll go ahead and start the battle here. I decided to start with Tornadus Therian. We do outspeed this if it does not have a Scarf. So we can gain information if he outspeeds us. He is most likely Scarf and will not KO us. According to my calcs, the maximum it could do was 88 to 92%. So we can gain information right off the bat here by just clicking U-turn. I wanted to slowly start to condition him to feel like Diancie was a safe pivot. This week we are running a physical set Tornadus that is built to take on this Mega Diancie, just because it is such a problem for us. So I'm going to go hard out into Doomshroom. There's really no reason not to. I'm just going to throw off a Giga Drain to kind of test to see what he's going to do throughout the match, just in answer to my Amoonguss. So we do see that this is right off the bat his swap. I also thought that he could have Mega'd and kind of predicted the Spore, so that's why I didn't go for Spore there. Alternatively, he could have also gone out into Alakazam there, but I don't know if he was predicting my Spore or not. Either way, it was a pretty decent play. So at this point I was running calcs, just kind of making sure that we'd be able to live whatever he wanted to go for. Flamethrower did do a good number to us, but with Regenerator we are able to kind of sit in here, you know, take a few hits and then bounce out, get some health back. And especially with Giga Drain, if you look at his team, not too much wants to take a Giga Drain. Garbodor probably is the best answer to a Giga Drain, and this Silvally is, in fact, you know, one of the better counters you have to it. So we're just going to go here. He's going to go Parting Shot, and there's really no reason for me to do anything else other than Spore. I'm not really afraid. Like I said, I know that I can stay in and eat up a Flamethrower, so if he wanted to stay in on me and go for Flamethrower, I was going to put him to sleep and then bounce out to something that could handle it. And like I said, this Alakazam is a problem. I don't want to let it sit in here for free exactly. But I also do want to make sure that I'm getting health back on this Tornadus. So this was the prime opportunity. Unless he was Spexed, nothing was going to be able to KO me. I know he's got to burn at least one turn of sleep. So if he wanted to double there, nothing on his team except for the Silvally outspeeds us, because we know that that is the Scarfmon. We don't really have to worry about it. Beautiful thing about playing in the GPL, we only allow one of each item per week. So once you figure out what each Pokemon has, like, you can process of elimination, you can figure out what it does and what doesn't have. So for some reason I just got the feeling that this Alakazam was Specs. just because it seems to balance the team a little bit better, allows him to kind of punch holes in the team and clear a path for either Diancie or Heliolisk. So I just wanted to make sure that this Torn stayed healthy. Right here I just click U-turn, and like I said, I want him to feel like this Diancie is a safe switch in every time. So here again, we're just going to play the game again. I'm just going to click Sludge Bomb, I believe, this time, just because I did see him going right back out into this Alakazam, which does lead me to believe that it's Specs. It could also been Life Orb. There's really no reason for me to not go Malamar here, just because if he wants to click Psychic, we can resist it. It won't do anything to us, and we will have to see if he is Specs. So right here, he does click Psychic, and he does seem to swap out, so I am going to go ahead and make that assumption that it is Choice Specs. So now we know, or at least we think, that this is Specs, and the Heliolisk is definitely Scarfed. We know Diancie is Mega. We know that the Silvally is Fire. Guessing the Hippo is either Leftovers at this point, and I'm assuming that Garbodor is probably Black Sludge. So here we just go for, I believe we go double out into Hitchcock Nightmare, and this is the play that I've been waiting for. Like I mentioned, this Tornadus is set up to handle the Diancie. It is a physical set Tornadus. Max speed, I think was 248 was all I need to outspeed everything, barring Scarfers. So we're fully invested. I believe this is, I want to say it's Hasty. I could be wrong. We do have the Iron Tail, and because this is our Z user, I went ahead and put Steelium Z on this, and I think in his mind he thought all I could do was really, U-turn. So I am just going to go for my Z move here, and we are going to be able to knock this thing out. I was really happy that the prep work was able to, come through, and so many times when you play League format, you prep for things and you find out you don't need them, and it was just nice to have something to does not necessarily go my way, but to just put the prep in and actually see it unfold in front of me. Here, I know he is Scarfed, and I was kind of thinking, he might just want this thing dead now, so I do want to double out. Malamar is specially defensive, and if he decides to go for a Thunderbolt to try and kill my Tornadus Therian, then I will be able to either rest up if it's a big hit, or just fire off a knockoff and get rid of something's item right off the bat. So we are just going to go hard out into Malamar. He is just going to Volt Switch, which was a nice play. I did kind of see him probably trying to get a little impatient and get a kill, but he didn't really need to do that. So right here, I do want to find out if he is indeed Specs, and I do want to go double right back out into Hitchcock Nightmare. So the Dazzling Gleam comes out, doesn't do an awful lot to us. I forget, I don't remember if I calced it or not to see what his item was. I don't know if it was Specs after all, but he does end up just giving us the Zam there, which is nice. Amoongus's major threat is eliminated right off the bat. So this Hippowdon does come out. It's not going to be fun to deal with. So I just wanted to throw off an Ice Punch. I do know that it's a 2-hit KO. Nothing on his team except for the Silvally really wants to take an Ice Punch. And we are Choice Banded Conkeldurr. Choice Band Guts put in work against his team, and I needed the Choice Band if I wanted to break through a lot of his bulkier mons like Vaporeon. Vaporeon can't really do too much to me outside of Scald or Toxic, and if he wanted to give me those status boosts, it was something that I could definitely deal with. So we are just going to go for another Ice Punch here. He's going to throw off rocks. I'm okay with that. I do have a Defogger and Klefki. I just want to make sure that we get rid of those rocks when we can. So I'm just going to throw off another Ice Punch. Like I said, we are banded, and we do get the freeze here, which is super nice. But, since he is a Fire type, I was kind of assuming he was going to have a Fire type move, and that it wasn't going to matter too much because he would just go for that Fire type move here and thaw himself out. But he does not, and he stays frozen. So the freeze was huge, just because the Silvally wasn't able to parting shot. It would have been nice if he had gone for parting shot and thawed, and then I could have gotten my contrary boost with Malamar. But I need this Rocky Helmet gone because this is being a pain in my butt, and I don't necessarily care for taking damage every time I hit this thing. So I am just going to go for a knockoff here. I figure I can, take this Rocky Helmet damage and then rest up on the next turn because I want him to slack off. Either slack off or Whirlwind was going to be the play there, and either way, it was kind of a positive play for us. We're going to rest up. We're going to get back to full, and he is just going to go for slack off one more time. There was really no reason not to. He does Whirlwind us on this turn, and he does get a lucky roll, and we go out and do Charizard. I'm getting ahead of myself. We go out into Charizard here, and we are going to take half damage. We're kind of built as a wall breaking set, so I'm just going to throw off an Outrage, kind of predicting him to either want to kill us outright or just go for another Whirlwind, which we do see right here. And we go right back out into Malamar. So unfortunately, he is going to be able to just, you know, slack off again. We're going to be able to burn our second turn of Sleep Talk, though, so that's nice. We do get a knockoff off, but it's really not going to matter. Slack off comes off, and we are absolutely fine. We're going to sit in here, get some leftovers back, and be almost up to full. We wake up, we're just going to throw off a superpower. You know, at this point it was 6 one way, half dozen another. He is just going to Whirlwind us out. You know, no reason not to. We do go right back out into Charizard again, and this time I wanted to see if he was going to slack off, kind of predicting my Outrage just to stay full or anything, but he does go for the EQ, which is, you know, sad to see Charizard go down, but, you know, it is what it is. So I do just want to throw off a Toxic, put this thing on a timer, because slack off is not going to be useful, and he does go for Stealth Rocks, predicting our Defog, which we are going to do now that we have this thing on a timer, and he's going to go right out into Silvally. Defog away these rocks, which is going to be helpful for Tornadus. It's going to make sure that the Regenerator actually counts for something. We're going to go right back out into Malamar. If he does want to wake up, go for Parting Shot, or if he wants to throw off a special attack, I mean, we can eat that for days. So right now, you know, just going to keep playing the game. This was a really fun match. We played it late at night, and I think he's 3 or 4 hours behind me. But he was really flexible. I just had a lot of stuff. Like, you know how sometimes when you're busy, but you're not like crazy busy, you just have enough going on throughout the day that kind of prevents you from doing what you want. That's kind of how my week was this past week. It wasn't a whole lot of stuff. I lifeguard, and I'm just having a lot of trouble getting my certification from the old company I used to work for, and I'm working for a new company now, and you know, they kind of want proof that I am a certified lifeguard, so I've been trying to dance around and, you know, please both companies. It's crazy, but you know, that's neither here nor there, just kind of giving y'all insight on what's going on in my life. But this thing is getting whittled, and Hitchcock Nightmare is becoming more and more useful. I definitely do have to make sure that I'm keeping it high on HP, and Malamar is just going to be our swap every day. I'm hoping and praying that the freeze will end, and he's going to go for Parting Shot, and I'll be able to get a boost, and just kind of have fun from there. And I did predict him to double there. That's why I went back out into Hitchcock Nightmare. We do see the Thaw. We do see the Taunt end. But he is going to thaw in just a second, which, you know, now that he's down to 10%, now he's gonna thaw out. Why I decided to wait until right there, I don't know, but we do see the Draco Meteor. We are especially defensive, so we are going to be able to eat that up. We're just going to throw off a superpower, and we're going to clean that up, and then we're going to get some lefties back right now. And at this point, I'm thinking, okay, cool. We've got this game in the bag. We just have to make sure that we keep all of our Mons high on HP just to deal with the Heliolisk and the Garbodor. The Garbodors that I've played in the past have all been like the hazard stacking kind, but the way that he's been playing this kind of tells me that it might be something a little different. But right now, I do just want to make sure that this Hippo goes down. We're going Superpower, and then he's going to slack off, which, you know, Toxic is going to start to rack up now. If he wants to attack us, that's fine, because Toxic is going to take its toll on him. As you can tell, we are slowly whittling things down. Superpower is starting to rack up more and more damage, and he's going to Whirlwind us out, which is absolutely fine. We're going to go into Amoonguss here. He's going to slack off, and we're going to Giga Drain, and we're going to get... Amoonguss has been getting a lot of kills. Like, people sleep on the Amoonguss, but the problem of Amoonguss is it's so hard to break through that it does end up getting more and more kills. Excuse me, it's not going to get a kill. Klefki is going to get a kill due to the Toxic. But, you know, nice try, Doomshroom. You're trying. So Heliolisk is going to come out, or excuse me, Garbodor is going to come out, and this is where things actually start to look a little bit bad for us, because the one thing they can kind of take this Mon on was my Charizard, and, you know, my Charizard is dead. So at this point, I do have to kind of play around this. I have to make sure that I taunt it, keep it asleep. Something tells me that he was going to be the rest set anyway, so I do assume that he's going to have Sleep Talk. If he gets a good Sleep Talk roll, things are not going to be looking good for us. So we do want to taunt him there to make sure that he can't use... we do see Rest. And he is going to go back out into Heliolisk, where we do see That he has a hidden power that he's going to want to use on us. Iron Tail did a good amount of damage. It's not going to be enough to 4-hit KO it. But as we can see, you know, Amogus is going to be able to eat those up for days. There was really no reason not to stay in, or excuse me, to stay in against it. Hidden power, like I said, I want to make sure that we regenerate enough HP to take things on. So we are just going to U-turn here. The rocks being up are a huge problem, and that's why I wanted to make sure that we keep those mons high on HP. You know, we're just gonna kind of sit in here and play the long game if we need to. So here is a huge misplay. This is the one misplay that could have ended up costing me the game, because for some reason I expected him to swap, and I go back out into Hitchcock Nightmare. If he had gotten a crit, we could have been in a bad position, but now, because of the rocks and because of the hidden power, we are at a dangerous amount of HP on this Tornadus, and we do need the HP. Should have gone hard out into Clef Key on this last play. Because we know he is Scarfed, we are going to be able to eat that, and we are going to be able to throw off a Defog, which is going to be great, because Tornadus can now come in, take a hidden power, and U-turn out to clean things up. I do want to keep this around just to help preserve differential and help preserve the things that I can bounce around with to continue my Regenerator core. We are going to see, we do see the crit there on the hidden power. You can tell it does a whole lot of damage. But we are just going to be able to sit in here. I believe I want to throw off a superpower, get a boost real fast, and now we got to play with this heaping pile of trash that does not look like a lot of fun. If he gets to +2 or +3, depending on what set he has, if he has Gunk Shot, then Clef Key is fine. We just have to kind of play around with things enough to where we can handle this. So my idea here is, so far we've seen Curse, Rest, and Sleep Talk, which means he only has one attacking move. If I keep my Mons high on HP, then odds are we can play around with it potentially. It just depends on what move that he's decided to keep with him. So we go for the taunt to make sure he can't curse on us, and he is going to throw off a payback, and thankfully we live on 2%. So I'm going to go out to Doomshroom here. He's just going to go for payback. That does a lot, especially at only +1, and I'm just going to try and spore him. At this point I'm thinking, wow, we played so well and we're going to get swept by this piece of trash. And I mean that not as like a dig towards Selt. I mean this is like the Pokemon is a heaping pile of trash, literally. So he does get a Sleep Talk Curse, which is really, really nice for them. Unfortunately, you know, there's not an awful lot I want to do, or that I can do. Luckily he can't Sleep Talk, just because, you know, he's taunted. Thankfully Tornadus is able to successfully throw that off there, and I'm just doubling back and forth. I'm running Calx while I can. So we know payback isn't going to do an awful lot to Conkeldurr, but I don't want to give it too many boosts to where it doesn't really matter. Like, see, that's doing 46% now. We got to make sure that we can break through this thing and burn out its paybacks if need be. So we're just going to sit in here against this Mon and try and take it on as best we can. There's not too much we can do other than kind of hope that we either get a crit or that we're able to stall out these paybacks, and he struggles himself to death. I don't even know if we have enough Mons left to deal with the struggle if that's what he wants to go for, especially if he's at +3. We're just going to spam some Ice Punches. I know that eventually he's going to have to rest, just because, you know, Ice Punch is not going to be something, even at +3 defense, he's not going to be taking it great. But we're not going to appreciate these paybacks either. And there we see he gets another curse. I think he only hit Rest once with these Sleep Talks, and you know, that's okay. It is what it is. So there's the payback. It did 29%, and this is no good, except for the fact that we get a crit right there, and it ends the stalemate, and kind of wraps up the game for us. You know, I was gonna be really upset if we had played that game that well, made the right predictions, and then, you know, put ourselves in a position to get swept by Garbodor at the very end. But yeah, it was a very fun match. Selt, like I said, was really, really willing to kind of work with my schedule, and I appreciate that. I know last week he had a bit of a scheduling conflict with his opponent, and there was just a lot of time differences. You know, the problem is, you know, life happens. I get that. It's one of those things that happens to everyone eventually. Odds are if you don't have conflict in your schedule, then you're probably not doing enough. So sometimes it can be difficult to get up with your opponent, and I completely understand that, and I appreciate him for working with us because we played this literally on the last day of week 6. So that does bump us up to 5-1. We do get a 5-0 victory. We're trying to keep up with Westchester. They're our week 8 opponent. This week we are playing the Cretan Articunos, and they are coached by Bluebird. But Westchester is staring at us from a week out, and they're looking scary. They've either won all their games 5-0 or they've lost 5-0. He only has 1 loss, so I think they're sitting at what, plus 25 right now, which is quite a bit better than what we've been doing. They've just got a scary team, and you know, our next week's opponent has a scary team as well. But you know, we're gonna take it 1 week at a time. That's the best way to do it. If you start looking too far down the line, then you run into the risk of not properly prepping and kind of looking at the long game instead of what's right in front of you. And I found that can be dangerous. But anyway, I'm gonna stop the banter here. I'm gonna render this video and get it up for you guys. And I appreciate y'all watching. I will see y'all next week. Peace.